Hey everyone, Shakarez here, and welcome to another Kayle video. Today, full game commentary on top lane, and in this game I'm laning versus Vladimir. And recently I've been having a lot of questions about how viable Kayle is right now, and I'd say she's in a decent spot. Again, after the nerfs, kind of hard to play. Doesn't win as many matchups, but I wanted to specifically showcase this matchup because I believe it's a matchup that she can win and a matchup where she can do very well. Now, I'm playing versus Vladimir, and Vladimir is one of these champions that has definitely increased in pick rate, so he's very popular, which means you'll find more popular matchups for Kayle. And I think that right now, Kayle probably is best top lane. I think that's where she has the better matchups. She has the Vladimir matchup. Hecarim is pretty good. He cannot really do anything to you. Sion, if well played, is also not very troubling, especially after he got so many nerfs. Gnar is a balanced matchup. I usually win it. So yeah, there's a lot of good matchups for her. And right here, as you see, I can start punishing him once I get the level 2. I get the level 2 before him, and I immediately start pounding on him, and I'm 11 to 5 CS, so you can tell I'm ahead. So yeah, Kayle versus Vladimir. Basically, I've had people have complaints about this lane. The way you should trade is you should always try to prolong the trades as much as you can, in a sense, and then I missed the cannon there. That kind of annoyed me. But what I mean is, when you're playing Kayle, you obviously right now maxing Gretchy's Fury is the only real way to go for sustained damage. Q isn't that good anymore, at least in my opinion. So when you're trading, you definitely want to stack up those auto attacks in order to be able to spam your E and win trades. Now the way Vladimir trades is he'll use a Tides of Blood plus a Transfusion. And then that's it. He doesn't really have auto attacks right here. You see him do the combo? And I actually go in. He pulls, he ignites me. I forgot he had Ignite, but I get First Blood right before going down, which is still worth for me. I mean, I used Flash, which was kind of stupid, but he used Ignite. I have Teleport for a map lane presence, so it should be fine. And I denied CS because CS was close to turret, although he kind of caught up. So right here, I'm not going to use the TP, going to go back to lane because he doesn't have it, so I might use it to go bot lane while he stays stuck in lane. Anyways, back to the matchup. You'll see that he constantly tries to do Blood Transfusion plus Tides of Blood, or the other way around actually, and that's it. He won't trade with auto attacks, it's too weak, so he really wants to go for those short trades. And you, on the other hand, you want to do, you don't have to use Q, you don't have to use Reckoning, you can just go Righteous Fury, but once you get in range, you just want to auto him down. And the perfect trade would be to trade enough auto attacks before he gets another spell up, so before he gets Transfusion up again. Obviously, if he does get Transfusion up again and he's using, most likely the case is you're already out trading him and you want to keep going. So right here, I Q him, start E-ing him really hard, and that's how I get the damage off. And right here I kind of didn't have my E, so that was awkward. And then right here I come back in, force his pool off, or else he'll take way much more damage. So, and yeah, that's pretty much how you trade versus him. It's not that hard, but what starts to become hard is when he gets to that level 9, when he already has that skill maxed, it becomes really hard to trade. Because he can just avoid trading or avoid dying to you. It's not that hard. You lose some CS and you just play defensively. And right here, almost killed him. He actually baited me pretty well, and they both flash for me. But they do get the kill, so well played by them. But 38 to 24, 25 now CS. That's how much I was zoning them. And this is how you do it. Basically, you force him to take trades he doesn't want to, because he'll want to always trade in the same way, which is basically he'll always want to do the 2 spells back off, and you don't let him. If he's starting to run, you can use Q then instead of using it to open. You open up with your E, and then you continue harassing with Q so he can't run. And if you force him to pool, remember that's a good trade for you because his pool takes a lot of his HP from him, so it's naturally going to be a very good option. When he gets level 9, it becomes kind of problematic because he has that transfusion maxed, so he gets a lot of health back. And when he has that transfusion maxed, he basically just, if he's smart, he'll avoid trades with you, or do unfavorable trades, but then he'll get them the health back from transfusions, and essentially that will mean that in the long run, you'll be losing those trades instead of winning. So as you saw there, I traded favorably initially, but since he already is close to level 9, not close to level 9, he's level 6, never mind. Since he's maxing up that transfusion, and he already has a Hextech Revolver, Hextech Revolver, it becomes kind of hard for me to trade with him in a favorable way. So right here I'm just trying really to farm and keep my CS dominance so I can keep winning. So right here I Q him, I go for the minions instead, don't want to lose the minions. And as you can see, I'm winning the trade here, but you'll see that very soon he'll be back at full HP, and Pantheon was there. Pantheon basically camped my lane super hard, so you'll see quite a lot of 2v1s coming, but it's fine. I'm used to it. So yeah, once he gets level 9 and once he hits that, if he's allowed to rush that Will of the Ancients or at least the Revolver, it becomes really hard to out-sustain him, and after that you kind of need some help. One thing I specifically like to do in this matchup is when I'm doing my skill order, I usually I max E first, Q second, and W last, and I usually only put like 1 or 2 points in W early. What I do on this matchup is I'll at least and usually put 3 points in W, so my sustain can be more or less the same as his. So right here you see how I'm taking more damage from him, and it's becoming kind of dangerous for me to stay in lane, but I don't want to lose my CS lead. Despite still having teleport, I don't want to use it yet unless I need to. So yeah, one thing I like to do, getting those 3 points in Divine Blessing, you'll see that later into the game, that the sustain really comes in handy. And the other thing I like to do versus this guy is, usually what will happen with Vladimir is, he'll usually go Will of the Ancients, and then he'll go for items like Royal Ice. Oh, right here, you didn't see the gank maybe from Hecarim. He TP'd to that ward, river ward, and basically ran up with home guards. Kind of weird, but it worked out, so whatever. But yeah, as I was saying, basically what Vladimir will do usually is he'll try to get his Will of the Ancients and then go for something like Zhonya's, maybe a Death Cap. I've seen Royal Eyes as well, but usually Will of the Ancients into a needlessly large rod item, and you don't usually see him buying MR items. He might buy Abyssal, but it's not very common. So what you can do versus this guy, and this is before Abyssal gets changed, because it has been changed on the PBE. I have no idea if it will be viable on Kayle, but I assume it won't. But what you can do is get your Abyssal components and try to rush an Abyssal after Stinger. You don't necessarily need the Nashers as early because of the ratio, and because of the CDR, you don't need the CDR early as much. So right here you see me buying boots, Negatron cloak, and pots, and I'm going back to lane. I think I teleport here. Yeah, there we go. It was too much of a big wave to let this go, and then I'd fall behind in XP, so basically decided to go back. And yeah, you see the trades are becoming kind of hard right now. But once I get my Abyssal, things become easier to handle. And if you can run boots like Sorcerers with the Abyssal, you'll have enough flat penetration you'll have 35 flat penetration, which means you'll be doing true damage if he has no MR, and you'll be doing close to true damage if he's bringing, for example, MR flat runes. He'll have 42, you'll reduce that by 35%, more or less, because then we have to calculate Kayle's passive, so it becomes a bit more. But more or less, 35% of his MR is going to be gone, and that means you can take your trades very, very favorably. And you'll see that later into the game. Right here, I'm struggling quite a bit, but I know that Pantheon is kind of camping top lane, so what we can do with this is we can definitely start winning trades. Right here, he opens up with ult. I'm not sure what he was attempting, but I still won the trade. And then, yeah, he pulls my Q. And I'm still winning trades. As I said, level 9, from level 9 onwards is when it starts becoming kind of hard for me. But as long as you can keep a ACS lead over Vladimir, you'll be as much of a monster late game as he is. Just you fill very different roles. Vladimir obviously brings a lot of damage to the team with his damage amplification on his ultimate. Kayle is kind of different. So right here, I go back in. This motherfucker has flash again. And I'm basically dead. Yeah, Pantheon ulted behind me. I almost kill Vladimir, but he gets the transfusion in right before I can do anything. So, unfortunate, but it happens. And I was kind of expecting to be camped. Simply because... I actually didn't see this gank, I'm curious. Yeah, not gonna work out against Kalista. I was expecting to get camped because Kayle is actually very easy to gank. And the other lanes are kind of hard. Azir also has an escape. Lucian has a dash and has Thresh Lantern. So it was kind of obvious I was going to be the one to get camped. But you just gotta deal with it and tell your team to play elsewhere on the map. Hecarim doesn't need to come top mandatorily. He can go to other lanes and snowball those lanes, because as long as I keep my CS up, I'll still be a threat late game. And that's the thought you should have when you're getting camped, especially if you're playing a late game scaler. So, going back to lane, just bought my Blasting Wand. I'm going to finish my Abyssal first, and then only after finishing my Abyssal am I going to build my Nashers. And then after Nashers, probably Def Cap, so I can pump up those ratios. And if you're behind and you can build a Def Cap, it's still very good because you'll still be helping your team a lot with heals, because once you get that Def Cap, your heals become really strong. So right here I make a mistake. This is the kind of mistake you don't want to do when trading. I could have just let the minions hit the turret, and because of it, I traded unfavorably. You see that I should have ended the trade much earlier there. Since he has CDR, he can now spam Q much earlier. And right here, this was really weird. I block Pantheon so he can't kill me. And then Hecarim decides not to go for Pantheon. He goes for a full HP Vladimir, so he doesn't kill him. I do get my farm, though. I do survive, so it's fine. I do have teleport, so I can go back to lane. Also, the other thing about this lane is if you're playing in any lane, really, if you're playing a teleport versus ignite matchup and you can trade kills favorably, it means you're ahead. Because late game, teleport might be used to get an advantage. Oh, and right here, Hecarim comes for the gank again. I believe we give up on this. This was basically like both junglers. I mean, I understand Pantheon wanting to camp top lane, but Hecarim should have definitely tried other lanes, because if he can get one of those other lanes rolling, it's going to be better off for us. So going back here, as you can see, I have my 3 points in my W, and what do I build? I believe. Do I have it? Oh, I did not have enough money, so I bought a upgraded warding trinket. I did not have money for Abyssal, and that's another big part of top lane. Playing with any champion, not necessarily Kayle. If you're level 9, you have more than 250 gold, buy the upgraded warding totem. It's basically a second sight stone, and if you're going to play the split push, even if you aren't, it's still going to be super good. So I definitely recommend you guys do something like this for when you're playing a top laner. It really helps control vision when split pushing. When not split pushing, you're still someone who can ward. If the support is out of sightstone stacks, or if simply he does not have more, if he's not around. So consider those options because it's a very good totem, and it definitely helps your team because we all know that in solo queue people don't buy that many wards. So yeah, that's pretty much it for laning. I think there's another fight, so I'll keep it for a bit. But I won't do the full commentary simply because this game kind of gets boring through mid game, and then I'll just go over team fights and some extra Kayle tips that you can use in your games. Right here, just trading. Not sure why he pulled there. Not a good idea by him, but I'm playing super carefully because I know that Pantheon can come at any time and ruin my day. Wards won't help that much since he can just ult in. So right here, just trading. Trading favorably because I force him to run. There's no minions he can use transfusion on, so that's good for me. And right here, he's getting his health back up, and I decide that I should go for a trade, but I get a tower hit. Not good. No bueno. And I just back off because I feel that Pantheon might be around. And I think... no, I thought I was going forwards, and then I see a mid lane, which means I can go back to the lane. And right there, you saw me do 185 HP per heal. That's a really big heal, and that's the way you ensure that you can keep sustained in lane, just like a Vladimir. So whenever you're playing a sustain lane and you want to out-sustain, you can always go for the W max second, or at least like 3 points. It helps a lot. So right here, was gonna kill Vladimir. Unfortunately, Pantheon is here again, and I just decided I'm gonna flash this because Pantheon had Moby Boots, which would mean if I went around, he was gonna catch me and then kill me because, well, I did have ult, so I could try to fight him, but then if Vladimir comes around and flash ignites me or something like that, I'm bound to lose the trade. So yeah, this is going to be it for the laning part of the guide. I hope you guys caught on a few tips on how to play lane versus a Vladimir when on Kayle. And as you can see there, I have my Abyssal Scepter and I'm finishing my Nashers. So now we'll move on to team fights and we'll take a look at those and how the game went.